This is the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast.
Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games!
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
I need 3 of those things, baby! We ain't done yet! We ain't done yet! You like that? You like that? I like that!
How's it going, Ruckus and The Menace Sports fam? You're listening to episode number 112 of the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast. I'm Spence the Menace.
And I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
And on this episode today, we have our transaction log and starting lineup. The Eastwood segment, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The return of the film room. Our NFL preview of the AFC and NFC West in our high heat. And an announcement of a primetime game video coming out soon. And our stud and dud for the episode. And I am sure that this is going to be quite full of things, as our transaction log now has a couple of different things in it. And two of them, all of them involve baseball, but two of them involve the Toronto Blue Jays. The first one being that Joey Votto announced his retirement at 40. I knew this was bound to happen, and Votto is such a disciplined hitter. And an MVP in his own right. If I know that I've been to Great American Ballpark while Votto was a Red, but I don't think I got to see him play live. Just trying to remember that game. You still on here, Ruckus?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I was like Earth to Ruckus.
I don't really have much to say about Votto other than he is a great. He was a very great Cincinnati Reds player playing first, and had probably one of his better careers. It sucks that he didn't end up going to like a World Series or getting a championship or anything like that. But I mean, he was in the wild card against the Pirates in 2014, so that's something. But it's just a damn shame that.
No, I did not get to see. I did not get to see Votto. I didn't get to see Votto, but I did get to see Anthony Rizzo at that game, and I also did get to see that dude Brandon Phillips. But Joey Votto was not in that game that I saw in July of 2014. So I didn't get to see Joey Votto play live, but I know that I had seen the Reds during the time of his career.
Yep.
But the other one.
Go ahead.
The other thing involving Toronto Blue Jays related players also involves my Boston Red Sox, as Danny Jansen becomes the first player in MLB history to be featured on both sides of the box score of the same baseball game. And there is a hole. What had happened was involving this, and I am very well aware of this, as it involves a suspended game, a deadline deal, and making up the suspended game. If that's kind of the context you were going for there.
Yep. That hits the nail on the coffin of what I was probably going to explain, just in better detail.
Yep, because it was on June 26th that a game was rain suspended between the Red Sox and Blue Jays. About a few days before the trade deadline, Danny Jansen was dealt from Toronto to Boston. And then substitution had to be made for Danny Jansen when they came back to this game earlier today. And it was very interesting actually reading like that this was there. It's just like, I am shocked that this has not happened sooner with all of the crazy things in Major League Baseball that have gone on.
Yeah, and to be honest, like there have been times where like a player would get traded, and it just so happened that they were on the opposite end of the
yeah, basically what I've called being traded across the hall.
Yeah, like there have been times of that, but never with
Doug Minkiewicz being the notable example that I bring up when it comes to that, because he was eventually involved in that trade happened in 2004, and Minkiewicz was on the Red Sox World Series winning roster when we reversed the curse. But ultimately, yeah, like I am shocked that this has not happened any bit of time sooner as far as the same game. And this is like a weird scenario where it's possible. But it's only the first time ever that it's happened. And then you have a special trip you've made over the weekend.
Yes, sir. So on Sunday, which time recording was yesterday, Monday. Anyways, I went to a Royals game with a good friend of mine, and we were in the Diamond Club seats. So we got to see Bobby Witt Jr. hit a dinger when it was 97 degrees outside in the blazing sun. So that was interesting. And we got to see MJ Melendez hit a dinger and Michael Garcia hit a dinger. But we left near the time that the game kind of unfolded negatively for the Royals, which I'll probably get into a little bit later in this episode. But yeah, it was a lot of fun going to the Diamond Club, seeing the players up close. Bryce Harper, for one, Nick Castellanos, Trey Turner. It was pretty damn cool, and it was awesome to see my friend's reaction, who had never been in the like right at home plate before.
Wait, so they were playing the Phillies?
Yeah.
Man, I'm surprised nothing bad was being announced, and all of a sudden Castellanos hits a dinger.
Well, he did end up hitting a dinger that game, and this was when we left to go back home.
Oh, the bad news is you were leaving and looking like a lobster.
I mean, I did get burned pretty good on my on my knees. Like literally, I have some like 2 little sunburn marks on my knees, and when I went to the ball field later for a game that I was actually playing, and I noticed that they were a wee bit red, and I was like, okay, well, whatever. I don't think I got sunburn anywhere else. Maybe my arms a little bit, but it wasn't too bad.
What I said. I was not 100% intending the prediction to go perfectly.
You're welcome.
That was completely unintentional, but I don't mind it.
Well, we were sitting in the sun, so it was kind of bound to happen.
Yeah, it was bound to happen, especially because burn times are generally a little bit quicker whenever it's hotter out. But we have announcements on the 2026 World Baseball Classic. It will be from March 5th to St. Patty's Day, with 20 teams in the pool. Sites ranging from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Lone Depot Park in Miami, and stadiums in Tokyo and San Juan. And the San Juan and Tokyo stadiums will be used more so in pool play, then everything will come stateside to either Houston or Miami.
It's crazy to think that I went to the Tokyo Dome like a year ago.
I don't know if they're playing that one at the Tokyo Dome though. It didn't necessarily say the stadium in particular, so I don't even know if they're going to be playing in the Tokyo Dome.
I mean, historically speaking, though, the WBC has been played at the Tokyo Dome.
So it wouldn't surprise me if it was the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, and the other housekeeping stuff of just our stuff is still going. And we are wrapping up my season 2 of March to October. The finale is next Monday. And then I am still in full swing on other projects. The Captain America one, stay tuned on that. And then Madden 25 will also be starting within the next couple of weeks or so. Actually, really, I think it's about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks on both of ours at that point.
Yep. So far, I've been playing the quick play because I don't want to play too much in the franchise mode as of now.
We're still waiting on that one update, but also the 53 mans have not officially dropped because those are set at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Though some cuts for teams have already been made. So
From what I read for the Chiefs, they still have I think they only went down to 72.
So yeah, I'm sure there's still plenty left, and we will be looking at 53-man rosters heading into the week, and I wouldn't be surprised if we just all of a sudden just decided, hey, why don't we break and kind of do a little side bit, but I am just not guaranteeing that for any bit of time because our schedules are crazy.
Yeah.
But it is now time for that tumbleweed to roll as we head into the Eastwood segment. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
All right, Spennis, what was the good for this week?
The Little League World Series comes home to the US of A.
USA, USA, USA.
As a team from Florida wins the Little League World Series over Chinese Taipei in the final, and I believe the Tokyo team got third, beating the team from Texas that kind of just decided to say, hey, we're gonna fall apart.
Florida looked pretty damn good, though, next to...
No, Florida looked really good, but that Texas team in particular, believe prior to the Florida game, they had entered this point undefeated. The Texas team had entered the point of facing Florida undefeated in the American final. So they hadn't lost until that certain point in time, which was Thursday. Oh, no, that was the one that got them in. So it actually was the 24th. Yeah, they had not suffered a loss. And then the Chinese Taipei team was actually undefeated going into that matchup. And actually, no, it was the team that finished third was from Barquisimeto, Venezuela. A Venezuelan team finished third. Not Tokyo. Tokyo got knocked out by Venezuela. So it was kind of nice getting to see Japan not make the final because they always seem to make it every year. We're not kidding.
Yep, and then I'll
let you handle the bad, yeah, which I think might also be kind of just as ugly.
Yeah, I was tempted to do this as ugly, but a mother of a 2026 QB recruit is suing the state of North Carolina for restrictions on public schools making money off fame. and this quarterback was committed to play for the Tennessee Volunteers. Rolanda Brandon filed the complaint last week in Wake County Superior Court. Her son is Greensboro Grimsley quarterback Faison Brandon, who is ranked number 32 in the ESPN Junior 300 and is number 4 pocket passer in the class. The lawsuit names North Carolina State Board of Education Department of Public Instruction as defendants, which followed a policy adopted in June blocking the state's public school athletes from making money through the use of their name, image, and likeness. The State Board of Education was asked to create rules allowing public high school athletes to use their NIL. It was not empowered to ban it. Charlotte-based attorney Mike Ingersoll said in a statement to the Charlotte Observer, "We look forward to correcting the state board's error and to help our client benefit from the incredible value and opportunities his hard work and commitment have created for his name, image, and likeness."
I'm sorry, but for a high school kid to have that, no.
I mean, if it was the Ball brothers, I wouldn't put it past them, but
No. If this would have been the Ball brothers, it would have not have surprised anyone in the slightest. But still, anything with this, it's still no.
Yeah, definitely not.
No, I'm sorry. High school sports does not need to have the burden of NIL.
Also,
I don't think the National Federation of High School Athletics, the NFHS, is ready for that smoke that comes with it.
I feel like it's like that classic parent is like super invested in their kid, and so they start like making like little highlight tapes to like show to recruiters and whatnot, and they're like, this is it, but this is like on steroids where they're like trying to make money off this kid.
Trying to sound like a helicopter.
Oh, okay.
The helicopter parent. I'm sorry. I was not trying to ruin the concept of what you were trying to say.
Oh no, you made it valid, and it's fine. I'm not offended. You did a great job. Great job, Spennis. You played a role of how to become Ruckus this episode, so you're welcome.
Well, but I think it was actually something that I think was also maybe what you were talking about at that particular point.
Yeah.
Just kind of the helicopter. But it's like, even though LeVar Ball would claim that he never lost, unfortunately, this would have been a complete loss on his end if it would have been that way. Because, again, I think you and I both are in full agreement that high school athletes should not have NIL. You
Correct.
do not worry. Yeah, because I'm sorry, these type of deals are big boy deals.
Also, here's another thing to add to that point. You know how like whenever you're like a junior or sophomore or senior in high school and you're trying to like save up money for college, do you think that would like pretty much take that away at that point if you're a student athlete? You wouldn't like experience what it is to actually know what a dollar is worth by earning it, by getting a job and learning that experience.
Well, scholarships have that. I mean, you're having scholarships, like you're understanding the power of earning the dollars in terms of scholarship. But at the same time, NIL, you were then trying to turn teenagers into celebrity. And having them be involved, and it's kind of putting too much, like it's kind of that putting too much on, say, a student. There's enough with that involving college sports. There's issues with that now going on with the Marvin Harrison Jr. situation, with the parent breaches of contract with Fanatics. And this is even stemming to a guy that's now a rookie in the NFL. having this hanging over his head. So there are hazards to NIL. And I think there are certain rules and such like violations that people have had over this time of really these past like 5 or 6 years that this has been a thing, that there's pros, there's cons, there's pitfalls. And these are just decisions, especially at such the young, impressionable age of being a teenager, like say being a 15 to 17-year-old teenager, that you really don't need to make. You just don't need it.
All right. What is
And
the ugly for this week?
the Chicago White Sox, they have become the second fastest team in MLB history to lose 100 in a season. The only team faster being the 1960 Philadelphia Athletics. And they are pretty much set on a pretty decent pace to chase the actual modern day record for losses in a season held by the 1962 New York Mets, who lost 120.
They were just trying to keep it 100.
Yeah, but you're trying to say that by keeping it 100 and taking an L? They have to lose 21 out of their next 31 remaining games to pass the Mets. They are the only team right now in Major League Baseball that has been, well, officially and more than mathematically eliminated. And I'm talking even from wild card contention. There is absolutely no chance.
I would make a joke now about the White Sox being eliminated from the 2025 MLB playoffs, but that's too soon.
It's a little too far. Chicago could find some miraculous way to turn this around, but the only thing to say right now for the White Sox is pain. Just straight up pain.
Just put some gerbils on the field next year. That they might do better than these guys. Or how about this? They just forfeit every game, and then they just have they make a new record of the worst.
Well, and now we're at the point of. Oh, I'll say this, and we're also now to the point where it's looking like right now the wild card races are starting to develop separation. And we can kind of really start to break that down now, is that this is more of a good than a bad or an ugly, but you've got, of course, the Royals, who have drastically improved. And they were kind of one of the worst teams. The Oakland Athletics have won 25 more games than the A's, and the Angels are 23 games up on them. Something tells me that that the front office of the Chicago White Sox was just preparing to set a record. And they just unloaded absolutely everything. Well, actually, not even absolutely everything. Because they still have notable players. They still have Luis Robert. They still have Garrett Crochet. So they have not unloaded absolutely everything. It's just they have unloaded enough that they could just be so bad. And it's very uncharacteristically bad, especially with how fast they've lost 100 games.
All right. Are we ready?
Yes, it is now time for a returning segment. We are now back to picking football once again, as we are now in a return for season 3 of the Film Room. Last year, Ruckus took the victory in the Super Bowl. 2 years ago, I won based on record in the first season of the Film Room. We are going to be playing with point values once again this season, as we have a couple of 2-pointers and a couple of 1-pointers for 9 points this week. And we're going to start by predicting a couple of 2-point games. And our first 2-point game is the number 14 Clemson Tigers versus the number 1 Georgia Bulldogs.
Go Dogs. Georgia.
The only thing I gotta do is a Pat McAfee here of what's that coming down the track? It's the Mean Machine in red and black. Ain't nothing finer in the land than a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan. Go Dogs! Go Dogs! Oh, Dogs! Sick 'em!
Also,
But I'm not switching to Alabama.
they're absolute
Dogs!
dogs. All right. Next one, Notre Dame versus Texas A&M. I'm going Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
All right, so it is number 7 Notre Dame versus number 20 Texas A&M. I think I also am in agreement, and I am going with the Golden Domers. And the reason why they're called that is because of the helmet.
They're a bit airy, don't you know?
Yep. And the next game is on Sunday. Number 23 USC versus number 13 LSU.
No Tigers. LSU, baby. All right, and then Penn State versus West Virginia.
Yeah, as much as I would love to take the Mountaineers here, I believe that it will be Penn State
I'm
that will
picking
take
Western Virginia.
Okay, for the record here, Penn State is ranked 8th. This is at Millen Puskar in Morgantown. But I am taking Penn State here. As much as I would love to take WVU, I just think Penn State overall is going to be the better ball club.
All right, and then we got Miami, Florida.
Yep, and I believe it's number 19 Miami versus the Florida Gators in the swamp. And I am actually going to go chomp. And I'm going to take the Florida Gator. And I'm taking the Florida Gators at home.
Yep, go Gators.
Yep.
And
then
it's Oklahoma versus Temple. And we both have Oklahoma. But I say Boomer. You say?
Sooner. I'm taking the Sooners here.
There we go.
The newly SEC Oklahoma Sooners. Yep.
All right, and now we are on to the high heat, where is the NFL
Yes.
preview of the AFC NFC West. And
this is the moment Ruckus has entirely been waiting for, but I am going to put his AFC on a cliffhanger, and we are going to start with the NFC West.
That's okay. I don't. That's fine. Save the best for last.
All right. And our first team will be the Los Angeles Rams.
Analysis on the Rams is hold the course and stay healthy. And also another question: who steps up on defense with Aaron Donald retired?
Yes. My breakdown of the Rams is a great offensive core when healthy. Yes, injuries to Kyron Williams can be a thing. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp.
Especially
They've
Cup.
got a couple. I was especially going to say especially Kyron Williams. Because Kyron Williams was out for a significant amount of time last year and still managed to do well. I am hoping that Sean McVay is able to find a way to cut down a little bit on that workload there. But I believe that the defense will be tested significantly in the first year post Aaron Donald.
All right,
The
next
next
one
team-
is the Seahawks.
Yes, the Seattle Seahawks.
All I had to ask is this Geno Smith's last hurrah? Go ahead, Spennis.
It is hard to tell whether it's going to be Geno Smith's last hurrah. But I believe that shaky quarterback play could keep Seattle out of playoff contention. They also lost a significant amount of defensive players with having Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs leave. Yes, I said it. They have changed destinations. So who really is going to lead that defense? It's probably Leonard Williams, who is an aging vet. I mean, they've got Michael Barrett. I mean, they've got play, and they also have Devin Witherspoon in the secondary. But there's only so much in this. There's only so much defensive work that Seattle really has at the moment. But I think the shaky quarterback play is what could keep them really out of contention. If Geno or even Sam Howell plays well. They've also got PJ Walker, too, if they manage to hang on to him. I have no idea who they're going to have on that 53. But at this point, if any of them find a way to play well, there's potential there. And next we talk about the Arizona Cardinals.
I have a Star Wars kind of twist to this. Is this the year that Kyler Murray strikes back? Because last year he mainly dealt with the ACL injury that he had late that season prior. And it was more of a year of, is Kyler coming back? Because he was on his rookie deal still, and now he was extended last season, but we just didn't know if he was going to stay with the Cardinals or get traded. But is this Murray's year to come back and be held better than ever?
I believe the key for the Cardinals is that they are on an identity crisis on both sides of the football. They are a team that is very... Though you have Kyler Murray, Desmond Ridder, Trey Benson, James Conner, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Michael Wilson, and Trey McBride. I mean, you've got guys. But I am a believer that their offense and defense are stuck in a weird identity crisis. And if they don't find their identity and be able to play very, very well inside of that, there will be no improvement, and their season will be sunk faster than my battleship.
All right. Here, the next one we have is the San Francisco 49ers. And my analysis is stay healthy and maybe you make it back to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs.
And I have the dominance in this division is par for the course for them. And they very much have the personnel to go very far. very much so back to the Super Bowl. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I think that should all go right for them, I think they'll be finding a home right there in New Orleans for the next Super Bowl. And the bold predictions are...
We forgot the winner.
Oh, well, I think we were pretty much very well in agreement here.
Yeah, 49.
I think it kind of spoke for itself.
But yeah,
and I took the theme of the 49ers as a whole and saying that they will strike gold in the NFC once again.
The bold prediction.
But our bold predictions, yes.
I have the Seahawks being eliminated first in playoff contention.
So you're thinking that Seattle, are you saying like once they're in, or you think they're going to be like the worst team in the division and be the very first ones out?
Worst team in the division being the first ones out of the running for the hunt of the playoffs.
That is shocking because honestly, I think the Cardinals are worse than them. As I think Jonathan Gannon's seat there is getting quite toasty. And yes, I did just say that. Especially if they're dealing with suspension of Zay Jones. But Jonathan Gannon, I have him as a Black Monday casualty. If not sooner, should the Cardinals struggle. That seat is burning up for Jonathan Gannon.
And the best is set for last, as now it's the AFC West predictions. And the first team is not the Raiders, but it is the Denver Broncos. And I don't expect anything huge to happen, but maybe some early signs of greatness from Bo Nix.
I'm simply going to say this. Expect improvement. Expect a net improvement, but also expect growing pains as Bo Nix leads this offense. Defensively, I think they're going to be all right defensively. I mean, they still have Patrick Surtain. I mean, they lose their safety in Justin Simmons, but Patrick Surtain can very well be a good shutdown corner for them. And next is the Raiders.
Yep, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the defense bails them out most games, because they whipped the Chiefs on Christmas Day, and that was a very sad time for me as a Chiefs fan then. But the outcome of that season was a Super Bowl, so at the Raiders' own stadium, so I think we're okay there. But I think maybe the little ass boy, Gardner Minshew, might actually do some wonders for the Raiders. But we'll see how it goes.
I have that the QB need was not addressed well enough in the offseason. Is Gardner Minshew absolutely trash? No. Should the Raiders have drafted a quarterback at some point in this draft? Yes. Was Aiden O'Connell doing enough? Possibly.
Debatable.
That's why I said possibly. Debatable. Kind of in that 50-50 range. The Raiders defense is good enough to kind of keep whatever it is on offense afloat. But I think Antonio Pierce will be heavily tested in his first full season as head coach of the Raiders. Yes, I say first full season because he was under the interim. But realize, interim tags as far as big, jumps of momentum sometimes only go so far. And yes, that is exactly what I believe is going to come about for the Raiders and Antonio Pierce. The next team up, I'm just going to skip it. The Chargers.
Boo! Boo! Okay, so I'm not going to skip this one because it is the best team in the NFL.
I was saying I'm going to skip the Chiefs. I was going to skip the Chiefs and go straight to the Chargers.
Yeah, I know. I'm not deaf. So, in the drunken words, I should say, of Chris Jones, I need 3 of those rings, baby. Followed by a woo! Alright, let's go to the Chargers.
I just was in that the biggest thing with the Chiefs, I said, it feels like the same old song and dance. That they will be dominant once again. But I still see, even with picking up Juju, I see that the wide receiver room could be the biggest difference between success and failure of the Chiefs' offense.
We'll see what happens.
The tight end room is Travis Kelce. Granted that they have some other backups that are very, very, very effective. But none of the tight ends are really holding that Chiefs offense back. The running back room, it's Isaiah Pacheco. You've got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, maybe. Like, just whatever other little semblances of running backs after the fact. But Isaiah Pacheco is kind of a very good cornerstone running back. But you have the diciness of the situation that is Rashee Rice. The Butterfingers of Kadarius Toney. The Corvette dancing Juju Smith-Schuster. The underweight yet very, very speedy Xavier Worthy, who with track speed there's flashes of potential. And seeing how he develops. But I am saying that the wide receiver room, if they do not play to the best efficiency that they possibly can, I think they are the resistance from the resistance band that could keep the Chiefs back, or their high efficiency can be the band that sends the Chiefs slingshotted forward. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. And then now we'll go to the Chargers.
Yep.
And I have keep Herbert healthy, and Harbaugh needs to show his worth on the reason why he is the head coach and Brandon Staley is no longer the head coach.
I have that this rebuild may be further off from where it is thought to be. Because Jim Harbaugh, yeah, is he a good coach? Like a good coach that can kind of motivate the team to eventually push itself to win games? Yes. Do not get that element of it twisted. That I really do think that the Chargers are a team that can be on that potential with Jim Harbaugh leading them. But I think the crumbled rubble that is some of the core of what the Chargers have may not be as effective. And some of the pieces that have kind of come along, because there's a reason why they sent Keenan Allen and Mike Williams packing.
Money.
Yeah. Well, that is true. But they probably could have done a little better with some of the wide receiver support. As you've got Quentin Butterfingers Johnston, who can pretty much barely hang on to a pass. Like to see Quentin Johnston and a Kadarius Toney in a hands contest to see who actually could find a worse way to drop a ball. And then the other two receivers are not bad for what the Chargers could deal with. But then also Jim Harbaugh has a couple of his brother's rejects in former Raven running backs J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, who both have had a history of injury issues. So the chances of them staying on the field are about as unstable as
Antonio Brown.
Yeah, that was probably a very good response. But I think very well that we both are in agreement here that the Kansas City Chiefs will handle business per usual, especially ever since Mahomes has been named the starter, and win their 9th straight AFC West division title.
Yeah, boy.
We are both in consensus agreement.
But
However,
we differ a little bit in the bold prediction.
Yeah, sorry. But we also took... But also, I think what I intentionally decided to do is that I intentionally decided to take teams different from you. I did that intentionally so that we really had like 2 different bold predictions that look like they'd actually make sense. And roll with it, Ruckus.
All right. So my bold prediction is the Broncos are going to be the second place team in the division, and the Chargers take some step back along with the Raiders, because the Chargers are kind of in that restructure period. The Raiders are still trying to figure out what the hell their macho is, and when interim coach or former interim head coach Antonio Pierce was starting his reign of terror on the Chiefs, it was the defense for the Raiders. But I don't think that will be enough to keep them in. And the Chargers, they're still, like I said, trying to figure themselves out. I think the Broncos are probably more better off than both of those teams, and I think they become a threat to the Chiefs.
Sean Payton, when he gets a quarterback that he wants, he has a very good coach reputation of being a QB whisperer and getting the absolute best out of that quarterback. Biggest example, for the longest time, it was Drew Brees. Drew Brees became one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, especially when it comes to stats, through really what Sean Taylor was doing, or Sean Payton was doing, not Sean Taylor. They're actually building a Sean Taylor statue out there in Commanders thing. They've got the plans to approve that. That's side of the point. Nice. But I think that you are right when it comes to the Broncos, and I am in agreement on that bold prediction. However, the way you worded it, the Chargers, I don't think are really taking a step back, as it is more so that they are going to be more so in nosedive. They are in nosedive.
Not as I have just nosedive? Okay.
Yeah, it's like they are free falling in pure nosedive fashion, as I have that the Chargers will be in the running for a top 5 draft pick next season.
All right.
And we have no color commentary this week, but we will be teasing briefly a small dosage of a primetime game. And this week, much to my chagrin, as I just love being more creative in challenges, it is Bomb Squad Diamond Dynasty. I just love testing my mind and being creative and finding really fun solutions to problems.
I'm also just boring to finish, so I'm just kind of like, all right, let's see how well we did as far as our team creation and just run with it. Because, like, yeah, the challenges could be probably more fun, but we didn't really play much LB The Show this year, and the only time we really did, it was for March to October. and that was fun. Don't get me wrong, but the Diamond Dynasty this year was just bland. Like, it wasn't. The problem wasn't too much content. The problem was just it got boring.
News Fest.
Like, MLB The Show 21 was probably or 22 with Otani was probably my favorite one out of all of them.
I really think my favorite run as far as Diamond Dynasty goes was probably 21, because I think 21 they did a really good job of keeping you very well invested. 22 wasn't bad. I think 21 had a better set of investment.
I also was not really in tune with how to get the players and stuff, and I also was at that point trying to I was focusing more on my work rather than playing Diamond Dynasty, but I still had a lot of fun playing with you on MLB The Show 21, and then 22 showed the true colors for both of us.
I think the hardest part about MLB The Show season for me is honestly, now that really throughout this entire podcast run, I had been dating my wife. And because we started out as boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, then we became fiancés, and then got married last year. In all aspects of MLB The Show seasons, with the exception of MLB The Show 21, because it was very early on in the dating cycle, I've had an issue of just finding different times to like start it. Like to really get started on it.
Yeah. Insert the Borat meme.
Yeah, I mean, I get where you're going with that. But I think that this year, MLB The Show has kind of just evolved into this sets and seasons system, which they still have not been able to figure out how to get it to work right.
I just didn't like that the first season they did. It was like, okay, that was fun. That was grindy as hell. And then they're like, oh, here's season 2, and then here's these far inferior rated players that you get to grind for. I'm just like, screw that.
And they went with a reset cycle. They previously were doing innings where they had smaller divisions of it, where you just didn't have enough time to get through it. Now it's just it's so grindy.
This isn't Escape from Tarkov, San Diego Studios. This is a freaking baseball game.
And also, there are people like us who have full-time jobs who may not always be able to have a desire to play online whenever we game.
I just recently, this has been in the ether for probably a couple months now, but I just bought my first house. Yay me. But I was also trying to figure out all the other shit that's going on with getting a new house. But also, I've been more busy with other stuff I like to do, but at the end of the day, we've been kicking ass and taking names on both sides.
Yeah, we've been doing a whole lot more things outside of being on the sticks in our in our own homes, playing the game. And honestly, I think the March to October projects made our time playing MLB The Show more fun.
Yes, for sure. Because Diamond Dynasty, when it comes to that, I love playing it and just kind of zoning out rather than making content about it, like the mini seasons. That's the most fun I get out of Diamond Dynasty. Other than that, everything else is just hot dog water to me.
Yeah, March to October, you are creating a story. Road to the Show, if I ever get back into that, you are creating a story. The Road to Glory stuff I'm doing, I am creating a story. Like, we are creating stories for you on our YouTube channel to tell from our individual perspectives of how we go about playing a game. Like, playing this very game and managing the season from our perspective.
Can I conclude this statement by, or this topic by
Yep.
saying, when we do the March to October, but also the Super Bowl races, it is very awesome to do play-by-plays and also pretend to be a sportscaster whenever I do Let's Plays, because that's kind of what I kind of wanted to do as a hobby, like almost to a point where you get to be on TV and whatnot, but also do some either off-color commentary on players and just trash talk. It's a lot of fun to do. I feel like it's almost like being like Pat McAfee, but if it was like a live setting, and I've enjoyed every minute of it, and it's a blast.
Yeah. I've been in that agreement as well, that it's allowed me to tell the story of things within my own words of a situation. Do some of the jokes land? No. Do some of the things necessarily 100% roll off the tongue perfectly? No.
Nope.
Words. Words. There's this thing called words, and we're not always able to use the right ones correctly for the situation at hand.
Especially
but
me.
I digress. Oh, that's because you like to use a lot more of them colorful 4-letter ones. But that's beside the point on my end. It's just sometimes the thought does not land.
It's like Mr. Rogers versus Rex Hudler. Anyways,
Next thought. We're going right to the stud and done of the week.
All right now. All right. So, for my stud this week, I have Carson Steele, Mr. Alligator Man, as I call him. Strong finish to the preseason with a touchdown, and looking like Marshawn Lynch out there. Just hope that he doesn't have to do that awkward interview where he says he's here so he doesn't get fined. Eats a bowl of Skittles. Nom nom nom. And then
I'm here so I don't get fined. I'm here so I don't get fined. Wait, and Carson Steele, he on the Chiefs, or is that a Bear?
He's a Chief. That was why I was telling you off camera or off the record.
Yeah. The running back, the rookie running back that
he's not in Madden yet, and it's pissing me off. Like, I was playing a preseason game versus the Chiefs at Arrowhead this weekend, and I saw there was a white running back on there, and I was like, I swear to God, that's Carson Steele. I'm about to lose my shit. But it turned out it was a fullback and didn't have the full glorious locks of hair like He-Man would have.
I mean, he was a UDFA. It's not
UDFA.
showing a draft. Yeah, he's a UDFA, so I don't think all the UDFAs made it, at least until the update. The updates have finally come along.
And then my dud for this week is the Royals' 2 big L's against the Phillies Saturday, and the game that I went to Sunday. The Saturday game was 11-2, and then the Sunday game the Royals scored one more point above, making it 11-3.
But the Royals do take a 4-3 victory to get back on the winning train.
Yep, and they also swept the doubleheader tonight with the Salvador Perez grand slam, giving the Royals a 9-4 victory in Game 2.
Yep.
All right, Spennis.
My stud this week goes to Billy Haywood in real life. Pete Crow Armstrong. As if you kind of don't realize why I'm saying this. Pete Crow Armstrong is the son of Ashley Crow, who played the mother of Billy Haywood in Little Big League. He hit an inside the park home run for the Chicago Cubs on Saturday night. And the honorable mention I don't have, but the dud was this poor Patriots fan wearing a Drake May jersey. He was tossed a potential touchdown pass game ball from KJ Osborne. May threw the touchdown pass. He was super hyped to get the ball. You're seeing him celebrate like, oh yeah, I got it. And they show the camera to him, but just a matter of like not even a minute later, when all of a sudden the touchdown ball that he would have gotten, the touchdown was called back. Because the Patriots had an illegal formation penalty on the left tackle who was constantly getting them because the NFL has set a rule for the tackles to not be fanned back. And they want them a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage to make it to make it harder on the offensive line, apparently. But it's like the NFL has like emphasized this thing that, oh, they'll get one warning, and then all of a sudden, anytime they do it, it's a 5-yard penalty. Any other time it happens, and that's exactly what happened.
And it turns out they had to take that back.
Yep. But Ruckus, we can go ahead and take this out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast, episode number 112. This is Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
Ruckus the Menace.
And we'll catch you guys in episode number 112. This has been a Ruckus and The Menace Sports production. See you next time.
Hugs and hand pounds, everybody.